Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the special meeting of the Budget Committee for Tuesday, January 20th, 2015. We will open with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a lot of elbow room up here tonight. Thank you, everybody, for making it. We do have a quorum tonight. We have 7 out of 11, so. On tonight's agenda is the review of a petition warrant article received to fund the Lamprey Senior Transportation, and we're going to let our town administrator open up. I know you've got some things to say, Stephen.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
We received a petition warrant article. We're not sure who was the petitioner, but it's to benefit the Lamprey Healthcare Senior Transportation Program, and it's the amount of $10,403. The Budget Committee has to make a recommendation either to recommend it or not recommend it this evening. As you know, traditionally the $10,000 was in the operating budget for the town to contribute to Lamprey Healthcare. This year, it was decided after some discussions about trying to come in with a flat or reduced tax rate. When I proposed my budget, I did not include the contribution, and there was some reasoning behind that. The first is, as you are aware, we have a rather large Lamprey facility in the community. And it does not qualify under state law as, it qualifies in state law as a non-taxable property for that one on Main Street. They also own a second parcel on Elm Street, which is a parking lot in a house, which is believes used for storage, and they just park their buses there. Currently, that's non-taxable either. The assessed value of the South Main Street facility is $2,398,600. So they're not paying taxes on that building in the amount of $62,052. The other is the 14 Elm Street, which is $239,700, and they don't have to pay taxes on $6,201. So total, they're getting a tax exempt of $68,253 in the community. We are reviewing some of the nature of their operations at both locations to make sure they still qualify under state law as non-taxable. The difference is when it comes to taxes, 501c3 does not necessitate that you're tax exempt in New Hampshire. That's a federal tax situation. You have to meet other standards in the state of New Hampshire to have tax exempt. And even if the owner could be 501c3, what they're doing at the property has to be beneficial or some sort of benefit to the nonprofit nature of it. So say if some nonprofit was in there and they had some kind of store that had nothing to do with their mission, that's taxable because it's not something that has to do with that. Sometimes rental, if a nonprofit owns rental units, they can tax those as well. Universities are usually pretty big with that. You'll have a Taco Bell or something in a Memorial Union building, and you'll be able to tax those portions of the facilities. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that after reviewing the town files, there was a point in time that Lamprey made a payment in lieu of taxes. We call them pilots. And it was started in '98, and the last record we have of one is $2003. Usually payment in lieu of taxes is the town and the county portion of the tax bill, and they take out the school because it's usually the largest portion. They did not do that on that. It was just a flat payment of $2,500 in '98. So, those are two reasons. If it was an easy decision. Look at the budget, but with the not a tax exempt money that we could be receiving in taxation or some kind of pilot, there was this. I determined that that was enough contribution from the town, was the $68,000, and reduced the budget by the $10,000 there. Mm-hmm. I did talk to my counterpart in Raymond because they have a rather large facility. For a while, they were not paying, but they do contribute now in their operating budget about $6,000. But there's also a tax exempt portion on there. I mean, they don't have to pay. they don't pay property tax.
To the same property tax, I mean, what is the comparison if they pay $6,000 against
Their building,
property
I don't know.
value of X? I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
how
don't know
that-
Raymond's tax rate. It's about a $1.2 million facility there, though. So it's still pretty large, so I'm assuming it's more than $6,000.
But it's 1.2 versus we've got a 2.4.
Right.
2.5, really. Okay.
So, and again, it did not make it through. I mean, the council didn't add it back in, and I made sure to know the council, and budget committee did as well.
Just to clarify, you're saying that Lamprey does pay Raymond $6,000?
No, I'm sorry, other way around.
Okay.
Raymond pays Lamprey $6,000,
Plus gives them a tax exempt status.
and they
as
get
well.
tax exempt.
Okay.
Wow.
Do we know why the payment stopped?
No, I can't find any record of it.
Wow.
And it was, my understanding it was that this came about with an individual, somebody wanted to make sure Lamprey received funds, so they just added to the budget one year. In either budget committee or council, and that has been in there for
Mm-hmm.
ever. Yes.
Okay. I know I have a bunch of questions. I'll let somebody jump in, or I'll just start it. All the signatures have been verified or certified
They
by
were.
the town clerk?
Yep, I wouldn't
That's
have
the
come to you if they
assumption.
weren't. Yep.
Okay. I think you talked about some of this and what prompted this citizens petition. We're not sure where it originated, if it was a private citizen. I mean, I know who
I-
signed it, but I
got a
guess
call. Yeah, I did get a call from Lamprey early in the budget process, and when it was released that, that it wasn't in the budget. And we made them aware, we're like, no, we did remove it. And I gave them, I said, if a resident of the town has the right to petition to put it on there.
Right.
You don't have to say who the head petitioner is. So, we don't know, I don't know who the individual was. We brought it
Right,
to
I
the
think
clerk's
that would be
office.
my question, is
Yeah.
if this was Lamprey spurred on and then went to citizens.
Yeah.
Something feels a little different
But
there.
usually that's what happens. In some communities, they have all these contributions as petition,
Mm-hmm.
when we make them petition. And it's usually somebody who works in the operations, who lives in
It
town.
puts the word out.
Passes up,
or
yeah.
something,
Yeah.
yeah. Is the transportation service is currently offered, as I understand, I see the bus going around. Do we know if there was some danger of senior transportation being eliminated?
I have not heard anything about that.
I mean, where's the fire?
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm trying to figure. And again, sorry, go ahead.
Has Lamprey basically said that they would have to cut that out of the budget, and
They never, I haven't heard anything that they would shut down transportation services.
Is
Mike?
there a fee presently that the seniors are being charged to take the transportation? or is it-
I'm not aware, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
See, originally, this wasn't, we never had it in our budget as specifically transportation services. When the petition came in, it was said specifically for transportation service. Which,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that probably is, I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth, but we're kind of like, okay, wait a minute, and there's things obviously that you can't necessarily answer, but I think it's worth asking the questions to get them out there to
Yep.
say, look, these are things that I wanted to consider, like how many seniors in Newmarket ride this bus? Things that we would look at if it were any other line. I don't mean this to convey that I'm against senior transportation or the seniors or whatever. It's just things I would look at based on the town is being asked to give money.
Right. Just to let everyone know, when I solicit for the contributions, I make them fill out an application. And it is pretty lengthy, and that requires them to provide the numbers that they provide service to, financial audits, proof that they're nonprofit or 501c3 and how it happens. Where else do they receive funding from? So it's not just our town, is it other towns? What do they get? So it's a pretty lengthy process.
Right.
Lamprey did fill one out, but it was, as I said, it wasn't for senior transportation only. It was for their entire operations.
And that's the line of, I think, a lot of my questions here. Can we confirm that senior transportation is not in one of their other grants? I know that they are in large part, they get, the last I knew, and I did take the time to look up their 2012 tax return. They do get in the realm of $250,000 as a grant from Exeter Hospital, for instance. Whether it's that or any of the other $4 million in grants and contributions that Lamprey receives, is any of that targeted for these types of programs? And this, again, may not be a discussion for tonight, but going forward is something that I would assume
Yep.
should be looked at. On top of the two main issues that you bring up, one is that, yes, the town already gives property tax relief, and two is that they not only do not make a payment as a thank you or recognition, but my view is, what other services can they do as a payment in kind? Because they do also use our town services, our roads, whatever, and I just, availing themselves, town services, I would like to know more details off of Lamprey here. So just kind of summarizing, property tax relief, transportation could be used as a service in kind. And my personal recommendation is a strong suggestion to review, as you said, Lamprey's tax relief status in Newmarket. They should, I feel that
We're doing it for all. I don't want to make it sound like
no,
Lamprey's the only one. We're doing all
exactly.
nonprofits are tied to
I feel strongly that
tax-exempt
they,
properties.
in this case, because they're on the table, they should be contributing to the tax pool. So I trust that you will look at that. And that includes helping our seniors, who I think are an important part of the community. Personal editorial, it is, I may have said to you initially, I find it very awkward that I want to respond to citizens and whatever, but I found it a very awkward position here to kind of not have the details and not be perceived as being against seniors. I'm just going to straight out there. So I back the funding, I'll just tell you, I'm going to back the funding of this transportation in this warrant. I will vote to recommend it, but with strong hesitation here, only because I think there are some details that we and perhaps the petitioners may not have known or realized, but I also am aware that the town is on it, so. Yes.
So,
Sorry to be hoggy.
no, it's fine, it's fine. My questions, I think, are related, but I'd like some clarification, Steve. So, if, this seems to me like a social service grant, or what we have historically
Yep.
categorized as a social service grant. And I know that we established a process for social service organizations to apply for social service grants.
Right.
So, can you state again kind of how this fits within that process or does not fit within that process, please?
Well, what we do is we ask them for the backup information. What I do is early August,
Yeah.
we distribute, and I put it on the website for any group that may want to have funding from the town, of a form that they need to fill out. And they do, and they submit it. I put right in there that filling out the form does not mean that you're going to be funded or proposed in the operating budget. It's just that if you want it, you need to fill it out. So in this situation, they did. They made it, and I reviewed the budget, and when I had to make some cuts, that was when I determined in my proposed budget. The council, as I said, was aware. They did not return the funding in their proposed budget to the budget committee, and the budget committee just adopted their budget. And you're aware that it wasn't in that one, so
Correct.
Moved forward there. They are allowed, anybody's allowed to petition a resident to put it in. It happened last year when an organization didn't meet the deadlines, because I also put deadlines in to apply for that, and they didn't meet it. And I said, the deadlines are the deadlines. I don't change the dates. You didn't make it. So, but you have the right to petition to be placed in the ballot, which they did.
And that was Meals on Wheels, if I
I
remember
believe it
correctly?
was. Yeah.
And something tied to that.
Yep. So it wasn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just had to follow the rules, and that's why I did that. I did that last year, so that's where we are right now.
Okay, thank you.
Russ?
Yeah, I know I did it off camera. I'll ask on camera. Can you vote to abstain when we vote tonight?
You can. You have more than a quorum, so an abstention is fine. Plus, an abstention is still a vote. It's not a non-vote. If you didn't, it's not as if we had 6 in the room, you left and we didn't have a quorum any longer. Abstention is a vote.
Okay.
So that's procedurally, that's okay.
And the reason I ask is because all of us spend a lot of time getting a lot of information from the school and from the town that we go through, have a question and answer period, and then come out with our opinion and our vote. That's what I feel my obligation is. I feel this is sort of being jammed without much information. I'm certainly in favor of the senior buses that they're supporting today, but you're saying this is not a negative, that their tax, just like any other grant, is going to be checked for their tax status. I don't know what the budget is for transportation and whether $483 is the whole budget for the year, or it's a tenth of the budget for the year. And then, without speaking a lot, which I usually do, I'm just going to say I don't have enough information to make an informed judgment, so I'm probably going to vote to abstain, saying with the comment that I think Lamprey Health owes the town, either through the deliberative session or before, some information on their organization, on the services that they provide in town, what this particular. How did they arrive at 10,483? Is it going to be shut down without it? All the good questions that were asked.
To be fair, I didn't know the petitioner, so I did not inform them of the meeting, because
Well, that's the other thing.
couldn't call everybody on the list.
We don't know who's sponsoring the petition either, so.
I have a couple questions. So when they fill out your form, sorry, can I go on?
Yeah, absolutely.
When they fill out your form, do they put down on that form what it is they're looking for the money for, or do they just say, hey, this is how much money we want?
It's a pretty lengthy document. They're supposed to say what services they provide.
Do you know if
resident.
this was one of the things on?
I would have noticed if it said specifically senior transportation, and I don't remember that on there.
And if we approve it, will it go on to the budget as Lamprey Health Care Senior Transportation?
It doesn't go
Or
on.
will it just go on there as a, here's
You have the
10,000?
warrant article in front of you. That will be the wording. It's to see if the voters, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the amount of $10,403 for Lamprey Healthcare Senior Transportation Program. When we cut a check, it will be to Lamprey Healthcare Senior Transportation Program.
I think maybe that was
Yeah.
what MJ was saying.
It's
is
got to
that
go directly
it's
to
got
that.
to go specifically
Yeah.
to that.
It can't go to the general. And I will ask for, if it passes, we'll ask for information to make sure it went to that.
Okay.
So,
Steve, do we know if the $10,403 that they're asking for is not going into a pool that they have?
I don't. That's the
hard part. I
Right.
want to know that it's actually just going for Newmarket citizens only, and we're not paying, and not that we're not paying, we don't
Yep.
want to pay for that. It's
Yeah.
more of, is it going into a pool? They know all the other districts and towns around what the total is, and they go, okay, this town gives us usually this much, this town usually gives us that much, goes into a pool.
And as I said, I'm gonna, if it passes, I'm gonna request to make sure to see where it went into the senior transportation, not,
Either way, this is still on the ballot.
it's on the ballot. You just need to
We're
recommend or
just
not
either
recommend.
recommending it or not recommending
Right.
it. With that being said, I voted for a budget with the line item absent.
Yep.
That's the way I'm going to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a point there. Go ahead, Mike.
So if it passes, that goes in, the 10,403. What happens if it fails and doesn't? Does it just, we keep going about our business, or
It
does
means-
the transportation stop?
If
I-
it fails
I don't
in
know.
March.
Right.
Right.
If-
I don't know. I haven't heard anything that the transportation's gonna stop. But our rule, the state law is no means no. And if the voters say no to this, I don't even have the ability to, if I have $10,000 in the budget, to give it to them. No means no. The voters said no. So,
Right.
No, okay.
Mickey, did you have any?
Nothing
Okay.
that hasn't already been said.
Yeah, I wish I did.
I just wanted to hear from all.
I guess I wish there was,
really
I wish there was
And-
more information,
and-
someone
yeah.
from
The
Lamprey.
information
Well,
is not
and
there.
to Blue's
petitioner or
comment,
someone, but
Yeah.
Regardless of our vote tonight, if I understand this is a warrant article.
It's on
that's
there.
gonna be
Let
voted
the
on.
citizens make the
And-
choice.
And we have 3 weeks until the deliberative session.
The 31st.
And then another couple of weeks
We're
after
getting
that.
this
I think
information.
there's a
The
lot
rest
to
of
be
it's staying.
educated, and the townspeople who are going to vote, I'd like to see them have the
Yep.
opportunity to be educated on
Yeah.
what's provided. So.
the moderator and I have talked, Because he even asked, he goes, who's going to speak to this at deliberative session? And I said, I don't know. I don't know who would do it. It has to be a resident, unless they get permission from the
I
body.
think somebody needs to come
Right.
up and explain to you, Lucy.
Yeah,
who-
and I said, and that's why, I'm ready to explain exactly what I'm explaining to you, but,
Well, and to that point, and maybe that addresses where I really feel like we're in a sticky wicket here, because, for it without the information, like we've requested from everybody, makes it seem like we're against the principle of this, and I'm not against the principle of this, but I have a tough time voting to recommend something when I've got half a loaf.
yeah.
On the other hand, I didn't consider an abstention, and maybe that's something, I don't know how we feel, I know the motion isn't on the table, we're just, discussing at this point. Does the budget committee, how comfortable is everybody with a yes vote or a no vote? Does the budget committee unanimously consider abstaining? Because we don't have enough information to make
Should we just?
a judgment
Does this have to
here.
go back
I
in front
don't-
of the town council?
Yes,
For the
council's
yeah.
going to vote tomorrow
Yeah,
night.
it's going
Problem is,
tomorrow
we're
night.
running out of time. I need to post the warrant Friday,
Sure,
so.
yeah.
I
Okay.
just
No, I
feel
didn't
like
know.
I'm being pushed
both
one way or
did,
the
both
other,
did.
and this is a, I
It's just we
I
don't
feel
really
that it's-
know if the funding's been removed for that.
Yeah.
So we might be voting for something that's still there.
Well, and Blue's point was valid. It's already been adopted as a budget without it in there, but it certainly is important, but we need more information. Are they charged fees? How many
Nobody- yeah,
riders? How
Nobody
many
ever told me when I
da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
removed it from the budget that we weren't going to get the service.
Right.
I'm going to make a motion to call this to a vote,
You need a motion first to vote.
okay?
A yay,
Make a
Do we
motion
need a
to vote.
motion first? Okay.
yeah.
After all this long, you'd think we'd have the procedure down, and we just, okay. Mike,
Go ahead,
what-
sorry.
no, we
I
can.
just when we call the vote and it happens and we all abstain and it goes on to the warrant article, does it just show up zeros?
I'm going
Nobody
to write,
recommended it, or
I'm going to say no,
No yeses, no nos, X abstains.
and I don't know what the state law says you have to make a recommendation, yes or no. I don't know if abstention's a recommendation. So
It's a
I don't
vote.
want to come back
But
and,
I was just, should it
Yeah.
happen? I don't know. I'm just tossing it out there. I don't think we've been in quite this
Right.
position yet. Blue, go ahead.
For me personally, I do not like yes, nos, or maybes.
right.
I voted for the budget the way it is. It wasn't in the budget. Somebody's come before me without a lot of information saying that I want $10,400 to go to a certain grant with no details. Going forward, give me the details, I'll change my opinion. But as of right now, I've already voted for a budget without it in it. So I cannot go forward and change my mind. Change my mind at deliberative session. I still have a right to vote. I can vote for it.
And there's the other side of
So,
where we've been
for me,
flip-flopping.
abstaining is not,
Yep.
And
I can be educated at the deliberative session if somebody comes and speaks at the microphone and tells me, and then I can change my vote then.
And
But
you
as a
actually have the right to
member-
change your recommendation after deliberative session.
We could vote to
Yeah.
so that way we
deliberative
vote.
session,
I
and
just, as of
and
right
there's a
now, I can't
point.
abstain. I
Without
just-
changing-
Personally, it's just a,
Without,
Personal thing.
no, and it's a
See,
great service. I'm not saying that, that at all.
And I'm just thinking, I would question whether or not,
without changing the intent, we could vote to not fund it for the amount of $0. We can do
Not
things.
here.
No,
Yeah.
at deliberative session. Sorry, I thought I said that.
Yeah,
Per-
just
perhaps
making
I did
sure.
not. No, deliberative session could do something like that, or we'd have more information, so there's, I
It
still,
suggests that they do have fairly specific information. I mean, they went down to $403. You would think that, you would hope, that there wasn't just a thumb in the wind sort of estimate, like that's talking
Yeah.
about
that's like me
$3.
me
What's the
pricing
difference?
stuff at
Knock
99
on your
bucks.
door
you know.
for a contribution.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
But where did it come from?
My question, again, we go through the whole things. How far are these trips? Where's the supermarket? All those things. We just don't have it. Where does the warrant article end? Does it end at the thank you, or does it end after the first sentence that we read?
the way it's written now, it just says to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $10,403 from Lamprey's Healthcare Senior Transportation Program.
Sounds like such a great idea, and that's my concern. If we don't know the details behind this, as far as what the town already contributes to Lamprey Healthcare, how do we get that information out there to everybody, first of all, and second of all, how do we get these questions
wanna make
answered.
sure-
I mean, I think that's just really important because, you know, again, if somebody just handed me this petition and I didn't know what I already know, of course I'd sign it. It's a great idea. I am totally for seniors and transportation and all of that, but
Yeah. And I just want
that's
to clarify.
not why we're here.
And I'm not against Lamprey at all. I mean, I just
No.
had to make a
I don't think
difficult
anyone is.
decision.
No, nobody
I
is,
think
and
we're all on
Yeah.
the same
I
page.
think-
It's
I-
just,
When I wrote the budget, I had to make a difficult decision, and
I'm
that was the
probably
area.
overcompensating for trying to get
Yeah.
that message out that, please, we're
It's
not,
funny that it doesn't say transportation to healthy activities, right? Just transportation, day-long activities.
Smoke breaks.
You know, we're
I guess,
So-
I guess it just, it assumes that Lamprey Health is removing the senior transportation program, but we don't have anything that states
I would
that
not
they
assume
actually
that it
are.
is. I wouldn't assume that it would, because
So-
if they're receiving other grants from other agencies
They're
in
not
the
removing
state,
it, why would
then
we-
they're still gonna have to provide the service. For example, I mean, I know that with,
yeah.
from
So
Coast,
it
that even
sounded-
if you don't fund it, there's certain things you have to provide.
right.
Sounded a little like a little pressure, like, oh, if we don't get this, the senior bus will be.
They've
commi-"
they've
And-
never
and
said
I-
that.
I don't-
They've
was
never
just-
said
This whole
that,
thing has
so-
been uncomfortable for me since
Yeah.
I read this. It's just uncomfortable, and I don't think it's fair to put us in this position without knowing. All right, so.
Well, hopefully somebody at home is watching who's the petitioner or
Will come to
somebody,
deliberative
and will
session.
come to the
Something.
deliberative session and
Because that's
clarify
what's going to
for
help
us.
us all.
I
is that
highly
deliberative
encourage that.
session.
Yeah,
Because if not, the only person they're gonna hear from is my memo, the same thing that I said to this committee tonight, so.
Or just as an
Okay.
aside to that, if there's someone who's willing to educate the public, can they use the town's website
No.
to post something?
no.
No, no. They can go to the press, but they can't use, we can't have people, we can't have using to campaign,
Or
because
they
then,
could send
No.
postage, but they may be
No.
exempt from postage, I don't know.
no, I can't have anything
I
with the
mean,
town to either advocate or not
Oh, no, I'm
advocate
not saying the
something.
town, I'm saying Lamprey.
No, but you're
could
saying
send-
for the website, so
Yeah,
no.
no, I gotcha. Okay.
No, but public meetings are fine, and maybe some of this information, if somebody is watching tonight, some of this will
Make a
be
copy.
answered tomorrow night at council. Maybe somebody will hear our plea and show up tomorrow at council and start giving that information, even
Be
before.
kind enough to frame the motion we need to vote on?
I don't know if you want to recommend or not recommend, but you should make a motion to blank this warrant article.
Okay. I will make a motion to recommend the petition warrant article to fund Lamprey Healthcare Senior Transportation Program.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion? And do you need to do roll call, or do
No.
we need a okay. All in favor, say aye. All against, say nay.
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 6-0 to
And
1.
abstaining?
Let's test what an abstention does.
It's 0 to 6 to 1 not to recommend the article.
Correct.
Okay. That's all
But
I
I
have.
would like the one abstention.
It is.
Okay.
And we
Steve,
would-
can I ask one more
We
question?
would
Sure.
like whoever it is that started this to come to deliberative session.
I highly encourage it.
Please explain why I felt in the hot
Going through your
seat.
budget process and talking about this at town council meetings, do you get a feel of what the town council may?
I never guess what the council.
I know, but it's, do you
No,
think they're
because
gonna?
they
Let
got
me
hit
ask
with
it, let me
this
ask
at
it
the
this way.
same time
Do
we
you think
did.
you're gonna be asked to come up with more information than what?
I don't know. I can't give more information if I don't have it.
Okay.
So that's
We need a representative from Lamprey Healthcare
At
Senior
deliberative session.
Transportation
Well,
Program.
hopefully
so-
they'll show up at the town council
or
meeting
anybody who
tomorrow night.
petitioned this, because they may know,
Information will then
somebody who
be-
signed it may have more
Right.
information because they signed it.
And again, if I had just gotten this and not known what I know, having
yeah.
sitting here, or in being through budgets in previous years and why was done, on the surface, it's a great idea. The problem is, it's just surface, and we're being asked to make a
And it's common. I mean, when you
That's-
every community I've been in, when you get a petition article, you don't have all the information. So
Right, understood. Okay.
all I have.
And that is that business. And would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn?
Monsieur Lang,
do
seconded
so.
by Mr. Simon. Thank you, everybody.
N-
Oh, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? No, we're good.
No abstentions either.
God, I'll get it at some point. No abstentions. Thank you, sir.